This
I've got.
conference will now be recorded.
All right, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are about to begin our meeting today. Do we have any volunteers that want to do the prayer? If not, I share so.
I do.
Okay.
Bow your head, please. Father God, we come to you this morning to just tell you thank you, Father God. Thank you for everything you have done for us this year and the year that coming up, Father God. Just continue to bless us all. And I want to say a special prayer for Mr. Eugene. We're ready to see you, Father God. Put your arm around him so he can come back and be with us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have a proposed agenda before you. What's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I'd like to have a brief executive session at the end for a personnel matter and real estate matter.
Dave?
No, sir. No, sir.
Ben?
No, sir. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda.
I second.
It has been motioned and second. All in favor by the show of hands. Okay, our old minutes, I'm gonna have to go back to my old saying now. My old minutes were email and mail to me. What? But I found out what was wrong with my phone. My daughter-in-law sort of doctored on it a little bit. Yeah, it was sort of full, like Mr. Glenn said. It needed emptying it out, which I didn't know how to do. All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
So move that we accept.
Second.
Okay. It has been motion and second that we accept the old minutes. All in favor by the show of hands, and that motion is unanimous. Okay, Mr. Steve is in your hand now.
Okay. Let's see, is Richard Hall here yet? Don't believe so, so we'll keep going down the list here. You've got a copy of the financial report for the month ending November 30th. Take that with you, look at it. Got any questions? Linda or I want to be glad to try to answer any questions you have. Item number 3, just a reminder, our 2023 LMIG projects, which is our road paving projects. The bids are scheduled to be open next Thursday at the Pulaski County Commissioner's Office. And just a reminder, that's a joint project. We joined with Dooley County, Pulaski County, Wilcox County, and the City of Hawkinsville join together and take bids to try to get some better pricing for larger quantities. So we'll know more after we get the bids next week. Item 4 is the Board of Assessors has been accepting applications. Are they ready to make a recommendation, Linda?
I don't know right now.
Okay, all right.
I'm waiting for them to call me back.
We may have a recommendation for them before the meeting's over, or we may not. Item number 5, on the Board of Health, we have one term that's expiring in the end of this month, Shay Massey. And Linda's trying to get in contact with her, mailed her, left messages and emailed, and we're waiting to hear from her whether she's willing to serve another term or not. So we'll keep that on the agenda before we hear back from that. Item number 6, on the Recreation Board, Joe Owens' term on the Rec Board expires at the end of this month, and he has previously expressed that he does not wish to serve another term. So Commissioner Mix is working on a replacement for that. Do you have anything? Okay, we'll keep that on the agenda. And just for information, upcoming holidays for county employees. Employees get Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as holidays. But this year, Christmas Eve is on Saturday. Christmas Day is on Sunday. So those folks that normally work 8 Monday to Friday, they're going to be taking Friday off for observing Christmas Eve and Monday off for observing Christmas Day. And then New Year's Day falls on a Sunday as well, so they'll be observed on Monday, January 2nd, and then the upcoming Martin Luther King Day is on Monday, January 16th.
Road department will take that Thursday.
for Christmas Eve.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna roll all that into the following week and basically take the whole week off between Christmas and New Year's. Take the whole week off. Be on call, but just take the whole week because a lot of those guys save their vacation time till Christmas, and it's not worth having just 2 employees up there. So that was the last plan that I heard Roddy had. So. Okay, number 8, we gotta wait till 8 and 9:30 for that. So we'll skip over that.
Steve, might want to share your screen. Right now, all we see is on the feed. All we see is the camera. You might want to share your screen so nobody's joined yet, but if they do join, that way they can follow along on the meeting. Just click on see where it says entire screen, the green. Click there and share. Yeah, that's what you need.
That more better. Okay.
Much more better.
All right, number 9, we'll need to wait to 9:15 for the Fulton Academy shotgun team because the coach is supposed to be here. I invited him here at 9:15, so we'll give him till the end to show up. And number 10 is we're recognizing the Dooley County High School football team, and they were invited to be here at 9:15 as well by me. So we'll we'll wait and see if Coach Lester wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it or not. So I'm not sure, but I would like to wait till 9:15 to give him the opportunity to be here. He was very appreciative of the gesture. So number 11, I was talking Don Wilford still here. I was talking to Don Wilford in regard to our ambulance fleet. We have 4 ambulances, a 2022, 5,000 miles on it, 2018, 90,000 miles on it, 2016, 130,000 miles, 2012, 165,000. And I just got to thinking, I said, well, first, what's the delivery time if we were to order a new ambulance? And the delivery time is what?
If we put a bid in today, middle of 2024, so July, August of 2024.
So 18 months.
24.
18 months out.
Don't call that ambulance.
Huh?
Don't call that ambulance.
Right.
18 months out.
That
So-
is if they can get enough chassis to meet the orders.
Right.
Yeah.
So that got me to thinking, by then, we only going to have one ambulance that got less than 100,000 miles on it.
Did we just order one? Or we just received
We
one?
just received
We just
one
received one.
that took a year to get from the time we ordered it.
It was ordered June of 2021, and we just received it. It's the one that's got the 5,000 miles on it.
So that's what got me thinking, we don't need to wait till we get in a bind and try to order it, because we'll sure be in a bind 18 months after that. But unfortunately, the one we just bought was purchased, what was the price on it?
The purchase price on the 2022 F350 right here was $147,668.
And if we was to order another one today,
The price is
$219,000.
We better wait.
that is a $72,000
You
increase.
think the price is gonna go down?
And to be honest with you, I did not think that price was correct. So I called another agency this morning that has recently purchased an ambulance, the same type chassis that we bid out for. And he informed me that yes, that was in average price of what they were bidded. So
We went to that chassis because we could keep the box.
they last longer. So you're looking at about 12 years on that truck, where the vans have gone up too. So what we were paying $86,000 for those vans, like it's in Unadilla. Those vans have gone up to around $120,000 now. But the life expectancy on those in really good shape is around 8 years or so, you know.
How did we finance the last one?
Splosh. Well, I don't, that's how,
Pay
Splosh.
I
What's the time frame of that?
think it was 4 years.
And what's the trade-in value on that stuff? I know if they costing that much now, our stuff got to be worth something too.
We just took a 2000, when we got a new one earlier this year, so we took a 2005 model out of service.
Mm-hmm.
Sold it on Gov Deals for $6,000. Because after so long, you can no longer use them as an I mean, at some point, you can no longer,
Right. I mean,
you can no longer use them as an
right.
ambulance.
I mean, the state doesn't have a pure limit on how long the ambulance or how old or how much mileage, but there is a liability issue once it gets to a point where, like the ambulance that we just got rid of, it's got a weak spot in the floor. And those cost more than it does to fix it, costs more than the benefit of the truck. So you have to play into that factor.
So we ordered one today, it'll be 2024 before it got here.
Mm-hmm.
And then that means that at 12, that will be, what, 12 years old.
And the 2012 is in the shop right now with a major oil leak. I'm hoping that we finally got the parts to, well, we did. We finally got the parts to fix it. It's in the shop, and I'm hoping that's going to fix the oil leak. The 2016 is waiting on some parts from the Ford dealership. We're still operating it, but it's got to have some work too.
What page is it splash on for them?
3.
Page 3.
Okay, now we saying if we get that, we're gonna that price will be locked in if we ordered it today.
Yeah, this price will be
Yes.
locked in.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the official bid that I made copies if y'all want to see the official bid. But this is the official bid that they gave us. And this is for a Chevrolet or Ford, whichever chassis they could get, but it will be diesel. I did want to stay with diesel.
Oh yeah.
So.
But it's gonna be a 2024. It's gonna be old when we get it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, what is the mileage, if the 2018 and 2016 put in service in 2018 and 2016, were they late?
Mm-hmm.
So my math in my head looks like about 22,000 miles a year.
Mm-hmm.
And do you use the newer ones more than you use the older ones, or all of
No.
them?
So the 2 Ford Transits, they're in Unadilla. We rotate them. Supposed to be rotating them every day. So the mileage on them, they have more miles on them simply because in that area we have more miles to the hospital. The 2022 and the 2012, both of those trucks are in the Vienna station, basically because they get less fuel mileage. And, 20 miles for a call on those trucks versus the 2 trucks in Unadilla, you're looking at 60 miles per call.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, do we have any other discussion on it?
When do we renew Splost?
2019 through 2024, so it'll go before the voters in 24 to go into effect in 25.
So we're gonna sort of need to up the little splash thing someday with increasing the prices and all that.
You have the option of obligating some of your ARP money for this as well.
Yeah.
We know we have to order it. We just have to we'll just figure out how to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So do we need a motion for that?
If you want to authorize him to go ahead and order one,
I
yes.
think
You got it. We don't have a hospital.
because by the time we get
I think you
here,
got much
2
choice.
years from now, we might have more money in the splash.
Right.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we go ahead and place order for that ambulance.
A second.
Okay. It has been motioned and second. Before we vote on it, do we have any other discussion on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that is unanimous.
I got a copy of the quote here for you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Don.
That's all I need. I won't call it.
Yeah. All right, we can back up now to, item number 9. I see the Fulton Academy shotgun team coaches showed up. Richard, if you want to come and have a seat. Right quick. I invited Richard here. This is Richard Hall. He's the coach of the Fulton Academy shotgun team. And let me back the agenda up here. And correct me if I say something wrong here now, Richard. Fulton Academy's had a shotgun team for I don't know how many years.
I don't have the
For several years.
10 or 12 years.
And this past, they just recently, some members of the team, not the whole team, recently competed in
There's two different associations that have shotgun events. GISA, the independent school, and then there's a association of
private and parochial schools.
That's right. And there's an open division. So, and it's the reason they have that is so that most public schools don't have shotgun teams. It's not popular there. So, but it gives a place for everybody who wants to have a team to come compete, and we go and compete in that open competition there.
And they recently won the state championship for that open competition.
First weekend of December, a group portion of the kids went and did a really good job.
And I took the liberty of preparing a proclamation in case y'all wanted to adopt it to honor the members of the team. So,
We have already signed it.
well, y'all not officially adopted it yet. So,
I make a motion, we adopt a proclamation honoring the Fulton Academy shotgun team.
I second.
It has been motioned and second. Are there any discussion? Yeah. We were talking about this morning about grades in school.
Mhm.
See, that's why I couldn't find Richard. He was out shooting somewhere. That was one of my former students too. Yeah.
You weren't riding the shotgun?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good job.
And just the participants that participated in it were Dylan Barfield, Dawson Blake, Logan Boyd, McKinley Causey, Clay Hall, Roy Hall, I think you may know them, Ben Howard, Blake Scarborough, and Nicholas Warren. And the coaches was head coach Richard Hall, assistant coach Lindsey Peavy Newman, Chris Boyd, Michael Causey, Dennis Howard, and Tom Scarborough, and Philip Warren. And we're going to get signed copies for everybody to have a copy. Commissioner Cason's not here today, so I have to get his signature, but I'll let you know when these are ready for you to pass out, ever how you want to pass out to the folks. So,
Yeah, good job.
yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Appreciate you doing this for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
We hadn't voted on it yet. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Good job.
Thank you, Richard.
Good job, coach.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, and then the next item is the Dooley County High School football team.
Coach.
Coach, come on up.
Everyone.
Come on up and have a- And I took the liberty of preparing a proclamation honoring them. I understand they had a great season this time, and they made it to the, correct me if I say that wrong, to the quarterfinals in the state playoffs for the GHSA Class A Division II.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we showed a picture of Coach Richard, Coach Hall. Yeah, the newspaper man. We can't get a picture, Mrs. Zinn.
Yeah.
Of the shotgun team.
We got a picture of the coach.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yes, sir.
You want to take a picture handing him the proclamation, or?
Come back. I'm getting ready to show them. Take one second. Hey, no problem, man. That's a great accomplishment.
All right, direct them to him. They need all the help they can get.
Oh, wait a minute, hang on.
Gosh.
All right, ready, 3, 2. I'm gonna take one more, 3, 2. I think that was the best. Got it.
Give me that.
Appreciate everything. You get the picture of Tony, man.
You get that picture right up?
Okay, now.
Yeah.
All right, and I also took the privilege, liberty of preparing a proclamation for the football team in case y'all wanted to adopt it as well, so.
Okay. All right, we need a motion on the floor.
So move.
I second.
Okay, there's been motion and second. Now discussion time. We can do our little talking if anybody got anything they want to say. If there's not, I'll take a lead. Okay, go on.
No,
No, I just want to say congratulations to the guys and the coaches, and we know Lincoln County cheated. Though. Man, that was terrible.
Oh,
But
boy.
congratulations, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, Mr. Attorney, see, I don't talk to all these folks, all the coaches. And I know about all the parents or all everybody in here. And you know, it just one thing about Douglas County. They can say all the other negative stuff that they want to say, but we got some good athletes here, and we got some good students here.
Amen.
And we just want to recognize you all for what you are, the accomplishment. And it's just no excuses. We look forward every year to having a great team, you know, from you all and representing the county, you know, along with all the schools in the county. It doesn't make no difference whether you're white, black, green, or yellow. You know, you all are great kids, and it just tickled me to death to see the program continue to blossom like it does from one year to the next. And Coach Xander, you know, you're one of my all-time favorites. I say that every time I see you. You know, like, we push hard for you to be in that position, but you know, you're doing a great job at that. Okay. Any other discussion?
I just want to thank all the players and the coaches. Y'all doing a great job. Keep up the good work, young guys. Stay out of trouble and listen to the coach. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's right. All right. If not, anybody else?
Congratulations, guys. Good accomplishment. Look forward to next year.
But we want state this time. We don't want no quarterfinal. And Lincoln County, I'm gonna shut up after this. But I know how tough. I know how many years we went there and played Lincoln County. Every 1 year that we beat Lincoln County up there in Lincoln County, it was on 1 year. And I know how tough it is, and I can probably tell you some of the reasons why it's tough like that. But I'm gonna leave that alone.
Tony already just said it. So.
all the time. But whatever. Okay, let's vote on it, and then we're gonna take a picture.
Well, if I could just say one thing, just as far as the guys, this is Coach Gates. He's our community coach. He's been coaching these guys since they were 7 and 8 years old, and he's actually won state titles with them in the recreation department. And so we pulled him in, you know, based on the relationship, and the guys, they responded well.
Yeah.
And the gentlemen that are present today, all of these gentlemen, we have defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, and the rest of them are all on first team, region first team. And so you have some of the best players in the state of Georgia right here.
All right.
Every last one of them.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say the rec department helps you develop
Yes,
players
sir.
young on?
Yes, sir. That's
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
fundamentals start.
There you go.
And we still traveling with them because if we remember, in middle school, I won 2 championships with these exact boys right here. So now that they're in high school, we're still leading them, and you see the success they're having now.
I can vouch to that. You can't tell me nothing about that rec department. You look down there and see what they're doing. You pretty near know how your future's gonna be when they get to you. Yeah.
I've still got one commissioner that's not here today. I'll get his signature on these proclamations, and then we'll have one for everybody, for all the coaches and the players to have. So we'll let y'all know when they're ready to be picked up.
Yes, sir.
Some of y'all go to Georgia.
Yeah, we got to vote on it. Then we're gonna take a picture.
I know right here. Yes,
It's
yes.
Dante. All right, dog, I can go back and tell some story about Dante, but I won't. But okay, we hadn't voted on it yet. I mean, okay, all in favor by the show of hands. That motion carried. Okay, now we.
Can y'all make your way over here and
Can you squeeze your chair right? We just stay seated. Okay.
Okay.
Give them some more room back here.
What I need to do? I need to send hand the proclamation to them, to the coaches.
Yeah, you can.
piece of paper is all you need?
Yeah, you don't want to be there.
Come over here, coach.
I don't want to be there.
Now, because even if you pull this table out, that screen don't move.
Don't find out, man. You need this 20 years from now, because they're gonna see you lying, because you ain't played that. I'm telling you, I know how they do me. Yeah.
We'll
Y'all, you know when you're all ready.
All right, y'all ready? He finna take the picture now. Y'all be ready.
I'm gonna take a couple. 3, 2, cheese. I'm old fashioned. 3, 2. Okay, that one of those should begin. All right.
All right. Coach Santa reminded me I had the paper turned the wrong way.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Okay, let's get back to the agenda. Number 12 on the agenda. There's a vacancy on the River Valley Regional Commission Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council. Dooley County it can have 2 members representing county. We currently have a vacancy. Dino Lemon currently represents, and the other position has been vacant for some time. Commissioner Lester would like to nominate, I believe, Deborah Bryant to serve for a term that will expire June 30th, 2023.
They riding buddies. They are. So she going anyway.
I second.
Okay, there's been motion and second. Do we have any discussion on it before we vote on it? Shoot, man, I'm glad we can get anybody to serve on it. Yeah. Okay, all in favor by the show of hands? That motion carries.
Okay. All right, I believe that's everything other than the public hearing and the executive session to have at the end of the meeting. So it's 9:29 right now, so we gotta wait 1 minute to 9:30. We advertised the public hearing to be at 9:30, so we'll wait till 9:30.
What time is the meeting?
9:30.
Can we go ahead and talk about our Christmas tree then?
Sure.
All right, tell us about it. Oh, you don't know anything about it? Where did it come? Where did it come from?
Secret Santa is what I was
Oh,
told.
Secret Santa. Okay.
I didn't want to tell everybody I did.
Did you do that for real? For real, Coach?
No, I didn't.
Coach ain't got time for nothing like
He
this.
said we can take them home, and I think we just need to get somebody some.
Thank you. Got time.
I knew.
Bert did it.
No, I'm not gonna take credit
You're
for
not gonna
someone
take
else's
credit.
handiwork.
That is so pretty.
It would not be my
A little
style.
time, man.
Secret Santa. Okay. Thank you, Secret Santa.
I know that you thought I was that generous, but
Yeah.
All right, it's 9:30. We'll open up the public hearing for the
I'm getting deep in here.
recommendations from the Planning Commission. And what I'm planning to do is I'm going to just real briefly go over all the rezoning requests, and then we'll come back and take them one at a time and open up the floor for public comments. But I think it'd be good just to look at all of them right quick and then come back and go through them. So all right, let me get my, let me go back to here. What am I doing here? I gotta get my act together here, give me a second. Okay, the first request was for 2 parcels that are adjacent to each other, parcel 5728 and parcel 5730. They're both located on Hall Road. The owner is Alberto Aquilar Rodriguez. It's currently zoned R1. The owner requests that the zoning be changed to C1, which is commercial, with a conditional use to operate a recreational vehicle campsite. And just show you where this is located. Let me close this. This is Highway 230 going west from Unadilla to Montezuma. This is where Highway 329 branches off going to Montezuma, and Highway 230 going to Byronville. This is one of the parcels. This parcel 5728 And this is the other parcel. Those are two parcels that involved with that rezoning request.
That's a point of order. He amended his request in the meeting not to include the upper parcel, and he was going to subdivide the lower, so that only 10 acres of the lower was going to be rezoned.
Okay, all right. And just the tan area in this map is currently zoned R1 residential single family. The green area is what's zoned agricultural. So we'll move back on to the second request. Yeah. Second request is regarding parcel 58-9. It's on Butler Lane. The owner is the Howard W. Butler Estate. It's currently zoned R1. The owner requests that the zoning be changed to industrial to operate a textile industry. And to show you where that's at, it's in very close to the other. Wrong one. This is the one I want to go to. Oh, great.
It resets often to the same thing.
Okay, not a problem. Let me go.
That's it.
What's the blue?
Okay, this is the parcel we're talking about now, 58-9. This is I-75, the exit at Brandon Motor Company, 230 heading out. This is Butler Lane right here, and that's Highway 230. The tan area again is currently zoned residential. The green areas are zoned ag. The blue area is zoned industrial. So that's the second request that we'll be considering. Okay, let's go back to the agenda. The next 5 parcels, 4 or 5, are all owned by the same owner. It's the same situation. Parcel 7614 is on Highway 230. The owner is Green Waters Investments LLC. It's currently zoned R1, and the owner requests that the zoning be changed to ag. And so that's just 7614. So let me go back to the map. That's not where the map is. The map is here. I thought I had everything so good. What was that parcel number again?
7613.
7614. 7614 is what I need to go to. So search 7614.
It only took the 6.
That didn't do good.
You should, suggestion, if you type in the name and the owner on the owner's name, it'll pull up all of their properties and you won't have to do it multiple times.
Okay, this is 230 coming out of Unadilla headed to Hogginsville. Get my bearings here. That's Ransom Road, goes up that way. This is Posey Road going down this way. That's the parcel. And once again, the tan areas are currently zoned residential. The green areas are currently zoned ag. And they're requesting this be rezoned, changed from residential to ag. So got that one. The next one, that was 7614, 9132. And once again, this is 230 coming out of Unadilla headed to Hogginsville. This is 7614 was the one we just looked at. This parcel is the parcel 9132 on Blazing Pine Drive between Highway 230 and Posey Road. Part of this, the green is currently zoned residential, the tan is currently zoned, green is zoned agriculture, tan is zoned residential. Part of this parcel, the part of that parcel that's on the east side of Blazing Pine is zoned ag. The part that's on the west side is zoned residential, and they're requesting it to be zoned residential. Ag. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Be changed from residential to ag. Okay, and then 55-7. 87. Map. Okay, this is 230 coming out of Unadilla headed to Montezuma. And this is where 329 and 230 split. This is the parcel. This is parcel 55-7. The brown area, the tan area is currently zoned residential. The green area is zoned ag. They're requesting that all of it be zoned ag. And then 55-7E is this parcel right here. Same thing, it's currently zoned residential. They're asking it to be zoned ag. And then 55-7F doesn't actually show on the map yet. It's a new parcel. It's going to be approximately a 2-acre portion of this one right here that they want to zone from residential to ag. So that's, in a nutshell, that's all of them real quick. So now we'll open up the public hearing for any comments regarding, let me go back here, the parcel on Hall Road. All right, so he dropped the small parcel.
Yes, sir.
And just requesting the larger parcel. And the planning commission, they're letting him drop the one, modifying the large parcel. Their motion was to recommend approving the rezoning. The motion was made by Kelly Noller, seconded by Henry Ballou, with some conditions that you want to explain the conditions?
Yes, on the parcel, the next property up from that, if you gotta go to your, drag to your right, it's just on the upper right-hand corner. Zoom in.
What happened here? Where am I at? All right, sorry.
Right there. So 5529 is the nearest one to it. To create a buffer, it was recommended that he go 175 foot down and then subdivide the lower piece of property so that there's an ample buffer between the potential RV park and the neighbor, so there's no chance of sound or anything. He's going to leave all the vegetation there and such. He was willing to do that, so subdivide the lower half to 10.5 acres. That would give him what he needed to put in the 57 spaces that he wanted. So that was the first condition that they had. The next condition, the main entrance to the property, they wanted it, if possible, to come off of 329. And if you go back to that view, you notice the intersection here, you've got the split of where 329 is and 230 to right where 329 makes a right to get onto 230. They thought if possible, make it a driveway there so that you can reach it from 329 or 230 coming up, so that you don't have any crossover, if the state would allow that. If they won't allow that, they said then it had to be a minimum of 150 foot down Hall Road entering the property. in the zoning ordinance, it says that you can't have, for campers, they cannot exceed 60 consecutive days and stay. That they felt that was rather vague. You could leave one day, come back, start 60 days over again. So what they proposed was campers can only stay 60 days in a 90-day period. So to break that up, to prevent it from some folks basically just going out of town for a day and coming back and never leaving. The intent is not to make a long-term park. It's supposed to be just for staying in many ways, like the one in Unadilla that's off of Highway 75. That one, you have a good bit of cycle through there, people coming and going. So that's the intent for the park. Also, they want to make sure the health department must approve all wells and septic. Because of the size being 57, he would need approximately 6 septic systems throughout the park, and they want to make sure it wouldn't affect the well that would supply for that. And then, of course, not to exceed 57 spaces to meet all building codes and zoning codes that are presently in place.
And it was like, all 9 members, well, 8 members were present in Layfield. Mr. Buckholz connected remotely.
Correct.
But then there was some issues. He wound up got disconnected before the vote was taken. So the vote was 6 yes and 2 no votes to recommend that be. So we'll open up. We'll first ask, is anybody present to speak in favor of this rezoning request? Is anybody remotely? Okay. Is there anybody here to speak against this rezoning request? Okay, Ms. Barber, if you want to come up, and in the sake of time, we'll allot 3 minutes to state your comments.
Okay. I'm Barbara Gaston, and I live on Hall Road, 645 Hall Road. Our family has a farm there, and we've had a farm there since the 1950s. There's about 10 families who live on the road and several children. And I feel that the proposed RV park with 57 campsites would be disruptive for the small community that we live in. There's light, noise, and traffic issues that might present from the campground. Also, the intersection they were showing you of 329 and 230 is already very busy, and it's dangerous. There's semis that fly by there going from 26 to the interstate. When we try to turn down Hall Road now, there's semis that'll be behind you, and you feel like they're going to push you out of the way before you can turn in. Let's see. But on a larger scale, y'all were talking about EMS a minute ago. It could cause an increased burden for EMS and law enforcement with that additional influx of people. With 57 campsites, you're looking at maybe, 4 per campsite. That's going to increase the population in the area a good bit. A little background on Hall Road. Hall Road is paved for the first mile, and then for 2 miles after that, it's dirt. And on the dirt road, you know how people like to ride their ATVs and 4-wheelers side-by-sides. And the road at times can become impassable when they cut wheelies and do all kinds of things out there. We have irrigation going a lot in that area because it is all agricultural. In that 2 miles that is dirt. Multiple cars and trucks have been stuck on that road. State Patrol was out there inspecting it. They got stuck on the road too. I feel like some of these campers may miss the turn, and if you miss the turn there on Hall Road, you're going to have to go that mile on the paved road. And then if they get up there and try to turn around, it could be dangerous, for them too as well to try to turn around. Trash dumping is already an issue. I'm sure it is on all if you live in the county, people take their trash and they dump it wherever they can. There's littering, cans and bottles are already a problem. And I can imagine with this influx of people, we might have more issues with that. If it were to pass too, we've had several families bring up the fact that with the children living on the road, it might be good to have some signage put up. children at play or whatever, so that the campers would be aware that there's children down that small 1 mile road. Another thing though that really I've been thinking about, and several people have mentioned this, Roberts Road, I don't know if you can look at your map and tell, but there's a road called Roberts Road. It cuts through, before you get to that intersection there, it cuts through to Hall Road, and that road stays, it must be a wetland right in there because it stays really bad. And with the mud and everything else. So we would like for that road to eventually be paved if the campground is put there, so that we would have access to the homes on that area without having to go through the traffic. But as I said before, I feel like an RV park and campsite would be disruptive for the residents of our small community. And I feel like it would change it forever, because once it's rezoned, it could change the area forever in that part of the community. Thank you for your time.
Next. We'll just come up and state your name and your address. And
I'm Jack Gaston. That was my wife, Barbara. I also live on Hall Road. And anyway, I've only been there 30 years. She's been there, but I'm not going to say how long she's been there. I get in trouble. Anyway, most everything I have to say, she's already said. Especially though, I want to point out the traffic. I wish we'd had more time. I'd have gone up there and sat and counted the trucks. But for some reason, the truck drivers think it's a shortcut from 26 to the interstate. And day and night, there's truck after truck after truck. We hear them hit the rumble strips. They cut into the roads. We hear them using the Jake brakes, and we're a mile, almost 3/4 of a mile from that intersection. Anyway, I can just see a 30 or 40 foot camper trying to turn in, and here comes one of those trucks about 60 miles an hour down there, 70 miles an hour, and I hate to think what would happen. Like she said, I think of course we're out in the county, but we're served by the sheriff's department, but it would put a pressure on them too, I'm sure, to come up there, to control the area. One of the other things is that I've seen a map from the National Resources Conservation Service, and of the 10 acres we're talking about, over 37% is deemed, is called BK, which means it's real low and it's prone to flooding, and I understand it generally will not perk. So that's 37% of the 10 acres is called BK because of the type of soil and the lowness of it. Also, there's a little pond on there. I know personally the previous owner was unable to get a septic tank put in for a cabin he built on that pond without having to pump the sewage several hundred yards away. So it would go into another septic tank where it would perk. So I know we say we'll let the county determine what will perk and what won't perk, but I mean, it's just a done deal. And I would hate to have to drive through there every day, with the problems that I foresee. But I would just say, I just don't think that this is the place for a campground with 57 sites. It's just like my wife said, we're quite a little residential area out there. We live out there for a reason, if we wanted tons of people around, we'd move to town. So we live out there for a reason. We like country. I know people that camp like to be in the country as well, but I just would hope they could find some other piece of country to camp in. Thank you for your time, and appreciate what y'all do.
Next.
My name is Larry Hudson. My address is 10225 Georgia Highway 230. I own the property right across. It joins it. There's a drain right through under this road right here. And the water that comes off this
He's across
160 acres around it, and over here too, that funnels in, goes through that.
You'll need to point at this monitor because they can see where you're pointing there.
Okay. That property right there is blocked out. It's property that I own. There's a drain through under 230. And the water that comes off all that land around there that goes that way goes to the Pulaski River, to the Okmulgee River in Pulaski County. And that is a wetlands, but it drains underneath 230. And I've seen water standing on my property, and it's got to go through that property to get to the Okmulgee River. And that's gonna be a problem in time. Now, he may get by with it for a while, but sooner or later, it's gonna flood. And, I don't know what he's gonna do about that water deal, but I would say it's a wetlands, and, EPA ain't gonna let him do a lot. In fact, they'll come down on him like a ton of bricks. So, that's the problem I'm seeing. And I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Steve, the flood map is available on that if you want to look at it.
It is not in the flood zone.
Next. Anybody else? Going once? Come on up.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
My name's John Wilson. I'm on Sparrow Road. I'm not in this area. And I was asked the other day, I had high blood pressure, so I was not very articulate. And I've got a meeting in about 35 minutes, so I'm gonna try to get everything done in 3 minutes for all of them if I can, if that's okay with you. Is it okay if I speak to all of them at one time? All of your things on top, or just this one?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's great that we have 400 possibility of 400 jobs coming to the county. And I highly support that. As far as the rezoning for residential, guys, we've lost at least 25% of our base tax revenue coming in because people have left. Possibly pushing up to 30% before the end of the year. I don't know. But I think 400 jobs coming in will go a long way towards rebuilding that. I'm proud of the man that's bringing that up. I don't even know him. I've never met him, but I'm grateful for him. I would have you consider seriously anything changing residential. When you bring in jobs is what we want to do, we're going to have to build homes. And everyone that wants to change things to ag or something different, just consider the fact, if a developer wants to come in and build these homes, those could be good locations. Just consider that. That's all I got to say. And if I was to live across the street, I'd probably feel the same way as them. Have a good day. Thank you for listening.
Anybody else?
I'm Fred Hall, and I live right there across from the thing right there, and I have a little shop right there. I just want to verify what my neighbor said. They're all telling the truth. The road is very narrow when y'all talking about putting a turnoff on Hall Road. It's narrower than Old National. You're talking about a 43-foot camper and a 20-foot truck. It's going to be sharp turning in unless you put a real wide entrance. The water they're talking about, I've been there since 1986. I have seen it go completely over Hall Road behind me. I have seen it where they're talking about crossing on 329 up there. The creek is there. Benji had dug a pond and moved the dirt out on the creek there and sort of pushed it on around the property. But when we do have a flood, it is definitely a lot of water in this area, even behind my house right there and all. There's two drain pipes going under Hall Road to go to his property. I have seen it run over the road before, but it can't go nowhere else. And in the flood, it come about 3 foot from my trailer. And I don't reckon none of you been out there and seen it, but that's pretty far up. And we would like to keep it a nice, quiet neighborhood, and that is why we moved to the country, so we wouldn't have noise and neighbors and all. And it's been a real nice neighborhood, other than we've had some stealing out there. And we don't think that campground is gonna help or benefit us or the neighborhood or the city or the county. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Ralph Smith. I also live on the road. And I'm here to support my neighbors and friends that live on the road and have for quite some time. And I'm not in favor of a campground being put there, although Al is a super nice guy and he's a good friend. But I don't think that this is really a good place for that. And I would appreciate each one of you considering the fact of how you would feel if we were there and it was in your situation. We got a nice place right now, and we'd like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? All right, the public comment period on that request to be closed. It's open for y'all's consideration.
What district is it in?
That's District 2, that's mine. With there being no one to speak on behalf of it and all the opposition to it, I make a motion that we deny the request.
I second the motion.
Based on Section 2F of the zoning criteria.
What did the planning committee base their decision on? Asking what did the planning commission, committee, what did they base their opinion on, what their decision? Why they, what they voted for?
Why did they vote what they voted? Well, they felt like the conditions would help alter so that it would meet the requirement and satisfy. We did had some for, mostly against the intent. The person who applied for Al is here if you wanted to ask him questions directly about what his full intent was. But in the presentation, we did show his outlook he was going to have within 2 years, what it was going to look like. He had full pictures and such. He discussed the revenue that it was going to bring in. And so based on that, that's why they leaned towards approving it versus not approving it.
So he couldn't be here today, this morning?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
okay.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Do we need to discuss it further? Make sure everybody understands what's going on before we finally vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, I just know, I've been living there in Unadilla for all my life, but I just know that's a dangerous intersection right there. And people got killed right there. And like you say, ain't no way to turn. And then when you're coming from Montezuma, you can't see it coming from Bonneville. You can't see coming from Unadilla. And that's in a normal vehicle. And I done pulled out before it almost got hit. So I'm just basing mine on safety reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, before we vote on it, are we ready to vote on it?
I need some more information. I like to know. I like to hear what the guy said, what he told the planning committee. Your information. Why? Yes, sir. I'm saying
that's fine.
Well, the appropriate time for him to do that is in the public meeting.
Yes.
And he's chosen not to do that. And so you are now faced with it's been closed.
Okay.
I misunderstood. I thought it was a public. It was against it or for it. I didn't know it had to do with me.
me, the owner of the property. I wasn't clear, pardon me, at the beginning.
You've
I believe he had to
advertised.
speak.
Mr. Chairman, let's let him
Well,
speak.
I think you need to reopen the public hearing if that's going to happen.
So do we need to put a motion back on the floor to reopen it back up to here,
Yes,
Mr. Ayer?
because it's a public comment.
Okay.
And it needs to be in a public hearing format, and then you need to offer anyone in opposition, if they want to speak,
Mhm.
to be heard. Again, if anyone else was left out, it doesn't mean that someone can give a rebuttal.
Right.
If they've already spoken, they've spoken. But if someone is on the opposition to it that hasn't spoken, they need to be given the equal opportunity.
Okay. So we need a motion on the floor then to open it back up to the,
I'll make a motion, we open it back up.
I second.
okay, there's been motion and second, all in favor? Okay.
Good morning, my name is Alvaro Aguilar. It's spelled wrong on there.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I guess, I'm gonna address a couple things. The RV site that I wanna put on there. As far as the traffic, there's 2 proposals, one on the main road and one on Hall Road. The one on Hall Road, that road is wide enough to take in a tractor trailer. They go up and down. There's a farm down the road from there, so they use semi trucks to go down that road. And if it did have to go on the Hall Road, I could do about 100 feet in the Hall Road, so it doesn't have to go past Hall Road. It wouldn't affect any of the neighbors in that aspect. It won't have to go past it at all. The second thing, I checked the flood zone. The flow zone, according to what I saw on the map from Georgia, it's not nowhere near there. It's towards the very back of the property, which is not on 10 acres. It's further down on 282 on the other side of the property. Money. I think this RV site has a potential. I know y'all, said something about the ambulances and the police. I think this RV site will benefit Unadilla for bringing in at least $1 million, 1.8 million to Unadilla, not to me. If I have 50 RV sites and each one of them came to Unadilla and stopped in Unadilla, instead of going past Unadilla or before Unadilla, and they stopped and each one would say, you know what, I'm gonna stay here for a couple of days. Each one was probably gonna spend, I want to say $100 a piece. 100 times 50. If that happens throughout the year, that's 1.8 million for Unadilla, and that's groceries, gas, supplies. They're gonna have to stop and purchase something and discount. As far as I'm gonna have all the laws, I will have all the laws. Everything has to do with the city as far as noise, traffic. I will make sure that everything that when I have an RVer come in and want to stay, has to be some kind of rules that they have to abide by in order to stay in my place and to respect my neighbors in that aspect. I'm not trying to modify their lives in any kind of way because it's a corner lot. It's not past their house. It's not in front of their house. So I'm moving everything down towards the corner, and I think it's a great place for people to get to know Unadilla and spend some money here instead of spending it in Perry or before then, and it'll help with the schools, and it has to. I mean, whatever money they spend here, it's going to go back into the community. So that's really the key points that I really want to make on this. If y'all consider it, that'd be great. Like I said, I respect my neighbors. I respect you guys, whatever else the situation may be. And I appreciate y'all taking your time.
Can I say something?
Has he already spoken?
He hadn't spoken. Come on up.
My name's Eddie Green. I live on Highway 230. I just want to point out that the Planning and Zoning Board voted Monday night without the knowledge that that is a federally designated wetland. And that point, for whatever reason, was not brought up on Monday night, so they did not know that it is a wetland, or at least a portion of it is a wetland, and that there are some, some fairly serious, environmental issues that could come up. That's all.
Question. Al?
Yes, sir.
Have you done this project somewhere else before?
I have not. I did my research, doing my research for the past year. And I checked, as far as they keep bringing up wetlands, I did check that. I did go to the planning zone. I did come here and check, make sure that nothing was underwater or was going to potentially be underwater. I can't help it if nature comes in one day and says, you know what, I'm gonna dump a bunch of water here. At that point, they're RVs and they can just move out. They have wheels on them. This, can't. It's not gonna. But as of right now, the only thing that's floodplains, from my understanding from zoning, is the very back corner of the property, which is where that 28 is. In the very back, right there. That corner right there, and it's about, from the map, it's about 50 feet, just my corner. The rest of that corner back there, it is wetlands. I mean, so you have residents that live right there in the wetlands too. I mean, if that's a problem. As far as the sewage and all that, yes. If it doesn't perk, it doesn't perk. If it doesn't, there is a septic tank on that property also as we speak. It's right there where, remember 57? It's either where 57 is or 30. Those, on that, right, either there or there, there's septic tanks right there. And there is a well already. There's 2 wells on that property.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Chris a question real quick? Is there a wetlands layer to this data?
No,
Okay.
no, at least not that I know of.
Okay.
Excuse me. You want the map?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Share that to the chairman.
Okay, now tell me what you need to explain it to me.
That's a soil map is what it is. And if you look in the second page, the little chart tells you that the USDA considers that to be BK, which is a frequently flooded and poor perk area.
Okay, hold on. Okay, now BK.
It's on the back of the map. The legend's on the back.
What some they got there for?
Where'd you find it?
There's a soils layer.
That's it. That's
So
what he's
that's
on.
elevation.
Yeah, that's
Elevation map that they have on it.
that's the soils layer.
Where's Camp Creek at?
So
I know stars out there.
I don't think that's the wetland with that something right there.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Steve, you might want to turn off the zoning, and that'll make it show up a little better.
If I could give a little bit of clarity on, to get a wetland survey, you actually have to hire a wetland engineer specialist to go out to the property, and they survey and check it geologically to make sure everything is, and they'll actually map it out. So it's a rather expensive venture. We've had other people that have gotten zoning changed to industrial and down here for the water park.
Yeah, that's not saying that's a
2/3 of their
wetland.
property was. So what I'm seeing is an elevation map. That's what's highlighted
No,
there.
that's
No, that's
no,
not
that's
an
a
elevation
soils
map.
map.
That's a soils map.
That's who, man?
Soil.
Soil.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not saying that's wetland. That's just talking about the type of
Type
soil
of
that
soil.
is. But it is relevant because where that little loop is, there's that kind of soil tends to not perk.
Right, and so he's already got one septic there. He'd have to put six total, based on what the health department told me. And how he would do that, he'd have to make it work within what is perkable on the property, or he'd have to do some type of a filtration system to make it work.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I hear a lot of speculation in this presentation that causes me concern. I first hear speculation as to which highway it's going to enter, because that gets to the root of the traffic and whether or not it's going to go on the side road that's partly paved, not, and so forth and so on. And whether you grant it or you don't grant it, if you grant it, where you're going to enter it makes a difference. And that's something that can be found out from the DOT in preparation for this project, I would think. And they could tell you whether or not they're going to let you have access or not have access based on this. They may require the zoning ahead of time before they give an opinion, but I don't know, and I don't know that that's been done. That's one thing I think causes speculation. Two, there's speculation regarding, even by the man who's proposing this, whether or not the soil will perk. Now the neighbors are saying there's two different things here. They're saying wetlands, and they're saying flood zone. I've heard two different things, two different words, two different concepts. They may sometimes be the same in some places, but they can be separate. So we're throwing around environmental things very loosely, and they need to be nailed down, because he's throwing out things saying, I can do this, speculating how much business can come in, and they're throwing things out speculating that it's a wetland and so forth. We're all throwing out with our emotion, arguments that may have a basis, but have not been developed. And so you're being asked to make a decision in a vacuum off of this. And so to me, that means it is not ready for you to make that decision, and you would have to deny it, since a motion has been made to deny it. And as you vote to accept that motion and denies, and then he has to go through the process whenever he's allowed to come back with the proper. But at this point, he's at this stage, you've already allowed him to go forward. You ask in those for, those against, and he didn't speak, and that's his opportunity to speak. So you've bent over backwards, but you don't have to keep bending over backwards to do the work for him to make the presentation to answer the questions you need. Now, the bit about the perking, if you're going to have 6 of those out there, the question I have is, are those all 6 required at one time, or can they be done based on how much he's doing at a time? And if so, can he even get one more to perk? Now, let me answer something else about speculation. There was a speculation thrown out by this gentleman about other neighbors maybe being the wetlands, Well, I don't know when they were designated as wetlands, and I don't know when the buildings were built, and I don't know if there's a grandfathering in, but I do know this: once they've been designated, then you can't build in them. Okay, so this business or someone else did it. Well, then maybe there's a reason why they did it. Maybe they violated, but that's like the guy riding down the road speeding, and you stop this one car. Okay, it doesn't matter what the other car speeding's doing. We're talking about this man, this property at this moment. Okay, and you're looking at your criteria. Let's take a look back at your criteria. Your criteria is pretty clear that you look at what diminishes other people's property. These restrictions, the extent which the restrictions diminishing the property's value promote the health, safety, and morals and general welfare of the public. Right now, these people over here are arguing E, saying that they're fine with the restrictions as they are, because they promote their health, their safety with the cars, and health, not having their too many septic tanks and flooding their wells and that sort of thing in a wetland, and morals, they don't want a bunch of people in there, and the general welfare, we don't want 400 may be a stretch, Ms. Barber. I love you to death, but 100 is more realistic. Two per one, and that's still a lot. Okay, and do those people bring in business? 4th point, you've got a place at Oz Campground on Highway 230 in Unadilla. You've got Angel City, and you've got
Southern Trails.
Southern Trails. You've got 3 campgrounds that are somewhat seasonal, somewhat permanent. And you could look at how many people live in those and what those impacts. There's a way to figure out what that number is without just guessing. And so what we have is a guess for what the business plan is. And I just think there's a lot that hasn't been presented to the Planning Zone Commission. It was enough for them to decide for it. And they were obviously presented more information than was presented here, and that's fine. But they weren't presented all the information because now you have this wetland thing that's been thrown here. So you've got a lot of questions in my mind, and you have a motion pending, you have a second, and you're about to finish the discussion. You've got a lot of unanswered questions.
So what do you suggest that we table it to further information or what?
I think you need to vote on it one way or the other at this point because you've already advertised it, had a public hearing, it's gone through the process. You need to vote it up or down and let it go. And then if there's not enough support for the motion, then we got one issue. If there's enough support for the motion, then it's done until he brings it back. If he brings it back, and there's a timing factor when he can bring it back.
Well, let me ask you this question. Were you at the planning commission? Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah, some of this probably like me could have been looked after down there. Okay. So do we need to start the motion back over with the?
No, there's a
motion.
There's a motion and second, properly made motion on the floor. So the options are, as I see it, call for the vote on that motion.
For the table. But if you table it, I don't think that's proper procedure.
Okay, I was just throwing it
I don't
out.
think that's proper
Okay.
when you've had an advertised public hearing.
Yeah.
Because that invites
think
people
about
in the public to come back and have
Mhm.
another public hearing, which you've got to advertise for again. And theoretically, you'd really need to run that back through the whole process of the planning commission if you're taking on additional evidence.
Okay,
So if the motion passes, then the rezoning request is denied.
Correct.
And it can be restarted back, but that's outlined in the zoning ordinances, what time period you have to wait for that.
Correct.
If the motion doesn't pass, where are we at?
It would be theoretically approved, but that would be.
It would stay as is.
There would have to be a motion to approve.
Correct. There'd have to be a motion to approve. You're right.
So if the motion, the
Depends-
current
depends
motion.
on- It depends on how many vote which way. So why don't you let's quit speculating about the vote and have a vote.
Okay, before we do that, Commissioner Russell, you had something you want to say?
Well, I was just trying to, basically pretty much what he was saying, what would happen if we just got, 2-2, would it pass or it won't pass? I mean, but.
You get 2-2, and it's not a tiebreaker, you're stuck with, it didn't pass.
The motion didn't pass.
Correct.
But then the rezoning isn't approved.
Correct.
Because there hasn't been a motion made and seconded and passed to approve it.
Correct.
So either way, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
I'm
right.
confused.
That's voted.
Okay.
See, that's why
But we have a motion on the floor right now that needs to be voted on after this discussion period is concluded.
Okay, do we have any more discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor of it?
Of the motion?
Of the motion, yeah. Let's make sure we put it right, yeah. All in favor of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
To deny.
To deny.
And then you need to oppose and you need to abstain.
And then call for the vote on opposed to the motion.
Yeah. All of it, denied, opposed.
I'm opposing because I like I said, I don't have enough information to go either to vote on it. So I'm whatever.
Okay.
Be an abstention.
Do you want to oppose it or do you want to abstain because you don't have enough information? I mean, it's up to you.
But like I said, you know, I understand everybody's situation, but like I said, I can't vote on something that I don't understand. I understand on their side, but I don't have, like you said, the full information that he should have. I think he really got a lot of work to do before I can go in his favor, really, bottom line. So I sustain.
That's thing, yeah. But so that'd be two. Then left at the
The motion doesn't pass because you gotta have 3 votes in favor of the motion, so the motion failed. Is that correct, Attorney?
That's correct.
The motion failed.
He can't vote because it.
Yeah, he can, but
It won't make a difference.
you got, for a motion to pass, there's 4 members here, for a motion to pass, 3 had to vote in favor of the motion.
But the
So if he
motion's
don't vote,
dead.
So that motion died
The rezoning request is dead.
unless there's another motion placed before the board.
So we're
So
done
it
with
stays
that,
as is.
unless someone, is there another motion? Okay.
Okay. Moving on to the next.
Explain.
So basically, the motion, the planning commission's recommendation to approve the rezoning was not approved by the Board of Commissioners due to lack of a motion.
So the project is stopped.
The project is stopped. He has the right to.
He can reapply.
He has the right to reapply.
But the zoning ordinance has a certain.
If it fails, it said.
It did
And
fail.
it technically didn't fail, it just wasn't approved. Is that accurate?
Right.
Because it says it has to be 6 months to reapply.
Let's do this.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
It is the petitioner's responsibility to determine what his remedies are at this point, not this board's.
Okay.
And it's not staff's position to advise him either, because that's a legal question for him.
So when can he reapply? Because I don't understand.
I am saying we're not answering that question.
Oh, okay.
here. That is not the role of this board to answer that question. That is for him to read the ordinance, him to read the law, and him to make a decision what his remedies are. And if we add anything to, I'm not going to allow us to add anything to that because that's where we stand on that. And that would be no matter who asks that question.
Correct.
All right, so we're ready to move on.
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I just want to make sure that everybody understand that,
It's done
right,
for now.
For now.
for right now.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right, in regard to parcel 9132 on Blazing Pine, nope, I'm sorry, we got another one. Parcel 58-9 on Butler Lane, owner is Howard W. Butler Estate. We'll open up the public hearing for comments on that. Anybody present that wants to comment in favor of this project?
I thought we already had somebody else.
Mr. Wilson, but he
already, that's what he was talking about, wasn't he?
yeah, he
I don't know what he was talking
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't
Because
know,
he
no,
brought up that about the job, so, but. I ain't worried.
Yeah. You.
Just want to say a few words in favor.
All right.
If I could, please.
Yeah.
My name's Scotty Mashburn with the Dilley County Industrial Development Authority. I'm currently working with a prospect for this site, and so we're getting it rezoned industrial just in chance of this does go through. I'm like I said, I'm working with a prospect. There's nothing guaranteed in this, so I am under a non-disclosure. I can't say a whole lot, but the state is involved. There's within 2 years they're looking at 400 plus jobs. They're looking at an investment within 2 years of around 132 million. And they've got plans past that also. But like I said, this is all competitive. You know, they are looking at other places. He does like ours, and it looks good. It's a good thing for the community. It's a good thing for jobs and taxes, and that's you know, it's still in the very early stages though. So I don't want to. I know several years ago we got into an engine thing where it went on and everybody thought that engine was coming and they said they were coming, and I don't want that to turn into this. You know, I don't want the same thing to happen. So I just want everybody to understand that it's very early. Everything looks positive so far, but you know, nothing's ever guaranteed. It's you know, but it will be a good thing for the community, and if there's anything I can answer, I'll be more than happy to. But like I said, I did sign a non-disclosure.
Do you think you'll know within 6 months?
Yes.
Okay. If it passes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because some planet,
That would be awesome.
I know it, over there with that, with rocket fuel stuff or whatever, you know. Yeah, we saw them, all that money, boy, God, yeah. What can I say? Okay.
Thanks, Scotty.
Thank you.
Anybody else to speak in favor of this project? If not, anybody want to speak opposed to this project? Anybody remote?
Might be somebody online.
Nope.
Oh, they didn't come? Okay.
And
There's nobody online.
the planning commission, upon motion by Mac Jordan, seconded by John Averill, voted unanimously to recommend that this parcel be rezoned from R1 to industrial. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, it's in y'all's court now.
All right.
You need a motion?
Mhm.
I so move.
A second.
Motion to approve
Go
the
from
rezone.
R1 to industrial. Yes, sir.
Got that, Ms. Lynn?
Mixon was second and Lester first.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We got a motion on the floor. Do we have any other discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands, and that motion carried.
Okay. Then the next is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 parcels that's owned by the Green Waters Investment LLC, requesting be zoning be changed from residential to ag. And the planning commission has unanimously voted to recommend that all 5 parcels be rezoned. Do y'all want to go one by one or do all 5 at one time? We'll open up comments. Is anybody here to comment in favor of these rezoning requests? Okay. Come on up.
I am Leanne Grimm, that thing on the screen. So, we discovered that all of our land that has always been agricultural land, it's always been farmed, has been zoned R1. And we want it zoned ag. That's the basic story. The way we found out was our daughter and son-in-law and their 3 kids want to move back to the farm, and we were looking at them moving onto the farm, and we said, oh, this is wrong. And so that's the gist of it. We'd just like to have it corrected.
Okay. Anybody else to speak in favor?
Can I add to that?
Yes, sir.
Give a little background. I'm Eddie Green. I am Leanne's husband. And the way this came to be, as she said, our daughter and son-in-law and our 3 grandchildren are about to move here from Worth County. Our son-in-law Heath works for the county, works for EMS. Our daughter has a small business, has a mobile boutique, and they want to move back here and farm with us. But temporarily, they're going to move a mobile home that they live in there onto this property. and hopefully within a couple of years, they're gonna build a house there. And we found out because it was zoned R1, that prohibits them from moving their home from there to here and letting them, get housekeeping set up here. It had to be zoned ag in order for them to put the mobile home there. And in the process, we found out that, a lot of our agricultural property, for whatever reason, when planning and zoning was set up, it was zoned residential. And we just like the zoning to reflect, how the land's currently being used.
Anybody else to comment in favor of the project? Anybody online? Anybody here wishing to speak opposed to the project? Hearing none, the public hearing for these parcels will be closed. So it's now in y'all's.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve, the planning commission's recommendation to rezone these individual parcels from R1 to agriculture.
All five at one time.
All parcels.
I second.
Okay, it has been motion and second. Do we have any other discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that's, Mr. Steve, before we move on, didn't we say we were gonna go back and revisit all this R1, C1 and all this stuff to try to get a more clarity on this agriculture stuff?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. We were in the process. We've actually took 3 of the planning and zoning commissioners to training in Atlanta. And we have also scheduled an event. It's not set yet, but we're working on scheduling with Gerald Mixon, a training session for everybody. And we're going to invite you guys as well when we get the date scheduled, so that we can get an overview. We're planning on updating all of the ordinances, and that's in works. It's a very complicated system, but that is in its works.
Yes.
And if you look at the map, I was looking at these the other night. It's like when they rezoned everything on all the major highways and stuff, they took ag land as potential development down the road for houses along those highways and stuff, just as a bulk.
Well, see, what I can't understand, okay, if it's ag, then, okay, I know that's farming. Now residential, I mean, I'm sort of, that's what confuses me.
They were looking to build stick houses along the highway. Like
Encourage stick houses.
Encourage, like if you go out past 230 around the curve, there's stick houses all along the road. So they just rezoned the parcels that touch the highway as R1.
Yeah, I know.
I imagine they just did it as a blanket with the idea that if somebody wanted to change it, they
could change it.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, this was done 30 years ago. We didn't have all this technology here to see all this detail. So
all them parcels down 230, let's just do them R1.
But yes, that's on the planning commission is working toward going through the zoning ordinance and doing a massive update. I think it would be good, and I told Glenn, that's why he said, when they start doing this, they're going to invite y'all to see it also, because there's no sense, in my mind, them to be heading in a direction that ultimately y'all not interested in going, because then why them put a whole lot of work into something and recommendation, and y'all say, that ain't what we want.
Right.
So it's going to take some input from y'all in the process as well, is my theory. So anyway, but that would, I think after we get through the holidays, get in next year, that's going to be a project they're going to take on. Okay. I believe that's all the items on the agenda, other than need to go into hopefully a brief executive session.
I'm gonna call Derek. He does have a recommendation.
You need a motion, Mr. Chairman? So
Steve.
here we go.
You're welcome to
Then we go
stay.
to executive session.
All right. Steve, I'm gonna just leave it sitting here and let it
Stop the recording.
Start.
Hey, Derek, we're ready for it.